Connect the Dots. Welcome to another edition of this podcast after a long break because we were planning Connect Dot conference, and now it's time to bring back the whole giggling around topics and people will bring to you all the time to talk to us about their stories, where they started their journey of whatever endeavor they're into from, and at the end of the day, to learn a lesson about our well-being, about personal development, growth, and etc. So today we are together with someone, apparently some of you knows the person we're with today. But then before I'll show you who the person is, maybe you could take a guess. I don't know. Just a few seconds. Okay, yeah. We are together with, it's a lot of things. I don't even know where to start from. This person is like all-encompassing, made into building policies for government, assisting entrepreneurs start their business, startup, whatever kind of business you do. You've got like a business consultant in them and all of that. Welcome to this podcast, Naufal Ahmad.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you so much. So I think I'm going to first of all say we apologize for some certain things that transpired during the conference, and also to talk around that too. You are into ecosystem. Yeah. And when you say ecosystem, I think there is need for you to unbundle it for people to understand. So can you take us through what you mean by being an ecosystem manager?
Okay, so building ecosystem or ecosystems is a combination of different things that requires different skills. So it's basically you trying to ensure that young people have everything they need to achieve their goals, ensuring that there is policy support to support their creativity, ensuring that they have access to funding, they have access to skills, because these are the things that provide what we sometimes bundle at the top level or policy level as enabling environment. So mine is all about ensuring that all of the stakeholders understand their roles and they actually give into the process of building that ecosystems. So you have young people that are usually unskilled,
semi-skilled,
so our job is to ensure that they have access to those skills, and when they are skilled, they may not have access to funding. Our job is to ensure that they have access to funding. They don't have access to mentors. Our job is to ensure that they have that access to mentors. So we help the government in designing policies and developing projects that will ensure that that ecosystem is built.
Okay.
That's basically what we do.
That sounds really great. So, I mean, in this part of the world, getting into something like this requires a lot. When did you start this managing ecosystem thingy? When did you start? Years? What motivated you to start it? Is it something you study in the university or something?
No, actually, I think it came from a very selfless place. I knew that I have always wanted to be an entrepreneur, start a business, develop myself and whatnot. So straight out of university, I started my first venture and I struggled. I struggled a lot. I failed and struggled a lot and I failed. So within that period, I thought, what if I had somebody that understood my struggle and helped me and put in place all of these tools, that would help me have, all of the skills that I need and advise me on things. So that was, okay, since I can't find that somebody, let me be that somebody for the people. And I'd like to think that we started in 2014, but started full-time 2015.
Okay.
And it started with the founding of the hub, KK Innovation Hub, which myself and a couple of friends started, and we've been doing that ever since. Organized trainings, with interface with private organizations and governments. Whenever there's an opportunity to say, okay, hey, we have this community of young people that have XYZ skills. How could we help them access a funding you have? How could we help them access the training you're holding? And, from that on, it developed into this complex thing that, connected me to so many other people that are doing so many of the same thing in different states. And even
that's amazing. Did you register the company?
Yes, it's a registered company.
When you're registering a company, as at that time, as a young person, I wouldn't know like your age at the time. there is a system. How did you go through it to apparently register with CAC and other bodies for that regulates companies in Nigeria?
So like I said, we started in 2014, but we formalized the whole arrangement in 2015. And we're very inquisitive and we like to engage professionals for help. We had lawyer friends. We had, it's a whole, we had to like do a visioning process. We had to like sit, okay, so who are we? What do we do? Who are we targeting? That's the whole visioning process. So we knew what we needed to do to get the legal backing, the structure that we need to start and grow this.
Oh, great. For this years that you've been in this, that's over a decade or something.
Yeah, it's 9 years.
9 years. Okay, almost.
a decade.
Formally, yeah. Almost a decade. It would have been maybe 10 or something. When it comes to building system, company, a thing that you're more interested in is a long process.
It is.
And there's this instant gratification thing that we seek as young people.
Yes.
For all of these years, what was that driving force for you and your team to remain in this business, especially in this time that there is this get-rich-quick syndrome that we as young people face when we see the social media pressures? What kept you in doing this up till this time?
So one word, it's grit. Grit. I would advise any young person to go study what grit means. I've seen somebody start, fail along the way and never bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to that word, grit. You have to understand that whatever it is that you want to get into is challenging. Even doing nothing is challenging.
That's right.
So you might as well just have what it takes to keep trying and trying
mm-hmm.
and trying and reinventing yourself and trying different things that attach the vision, though, because you can't be all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes back to having a vision first, and and just trying different things to achieve that vision.
Nice.
But for some people, you have two extremes. Some people would keep trying to achieve the same thing
mm-hmm.
without willing to pivot, change their ways, and they keep failing. And you have, it's really challenging. So it's all about you just putting in the effort and trying different things to ensure that you achieve
your goal,
that vision.
Yeah, this must be like a story of resilience thing.
It is actually.
Tell us about it.
So for me, when I got invited to speak at your conference, so it was the theme that really got me interested.
Yes,
that's my story.
Yeah, ignite and resilience.
Yes, and that's the story of Nigeria as a country.
Mm-hmm.
It's ironic that you chose that, because I like to believe, and I'm not saying this lightly, but I've read a lot of books. I've heard so many stories of many startups and people from different parts of the world. But I like to think that you hardly could meet a people that are more resilient than Nigerians.
That's right.
Yes, anything that could go wrong with the country has gone wrong with Nigeria.
That's right.
But we're still here. We've lived through the civil wars. We've lived through full-blown wars and terrorism, and it's funny enough, it's not just in one part of the country, it's in all parts of the country. You have kidnappings and banditry in the northwest, you have
militancy
in the south or southeast,
mm-hmm.
and you have all these IPOB in the southeast,
yes.
and you have the Oduduwa Republic guys in the southwest. Yeah, you have a lot of them, and we've lived through all of them. And you have a country that has dilapidated infrastructure. We had coups. We have been in so many recessions, but look at where we are. We're still the strongest economy in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the story of resilience. And anything that could go wrong with the people has gone wrong with our people. But look at where we are. Of the 7 unicorns that you have in Africa, 5 are from Nigeria.
That's right.
And the 2 of them are literally built by the same person. So we are resilient. We have whatever it takes to reach our full potential, to lead not just Africa, but the entire world. But it's sometimes the failure of leadership that fails to create that enabling environment that could take us from a country of potentials to a country of greatness. Because that's what we've always had 60-something years ago, a country of potentials. It's time, I think, we create an environment where we're able to transcend that potential into something that is greater than where we are right now.
So in this years, 9 years you've been into this, can you state the time that you ever feel like quitting, maybe due to some reasons or not?
Yeah, there are so many times, but like I said, it's grit. It's your dedication to your vision, because you started on a stable foundation. That no matter how hard it gets, you're always willing to dust yourself
And get up.
just bounce back. And at our lowest, I think it was the time of COVID.
Yeah,
Because
I think it affected even the most biggest giants in the world.
Yeah, so for us, I mean, we are an organization that relies on public programming, so it means people coming in and out. But there was a lockdown for the entire so we had to pivot what we were doing. We knew that we wanted to add value. That would take you back to having a vision. Instead of training people on technology and ICT and whatnot, the entire hub pivoted into producing sanitary materials that we were donating to organizations and public spaces, for hospitals, for some of the schools that were still open. We were producing hand sanitizers and whatnot, just so we could continue to be productive, so we could continue to deliver value. And I think that's some of the problems that we face as a young people, that if I want to produce this cup, all I want to do is produce this cup. That's because I don't have a vision. I'm only seeing the product. What if I had a vision? If I'm unable to create this cup, maybe I could look, and maybe the society doesn't need this at the moment. What can I deliver that is of value, that is not this? So that I continue to deliver value, that when the conditions are right, I could continue to be producing.
How do you use this?
So it goes back to that vision.
Vision.
Always have a vision, but your output might differ, but the vision needs to be consistent.
Yeah, you've mentioned vision like countless times.
Because I can't stress it enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, do you have like a vision board that guides you through your maybe smaller milestones and things that you created for yourself?
That's ideal. If you don't have it, you'd fail. So you need to have that. Don't keep saying vision, but you need to have it, because circumstances might change and your interest might shift. And all of the great companies in the world succeeded because they had that. Right? It's the reason why your Apples succeeded. Your Samsungs, your Nokias started, because take a look at the story of Nokia. It started as a small trading company, right? And but look at the story. It went into shipbuilding. It went into fishing. It went into, but they found their biggest success in the ICT sector, producing smartphones, your TVs and whatnot. So having that vision helps you,
pull your resources to you.
Yes, and just go through all obstacles. And there are so many stories to draw from. But yeah,
sure. Okay, so now I would like to know there should be something or someone in your team or yourself that is always the one to see anytime you feel like faltering back. No, we've got this, we should continue. Who is that person? Is it you? Is it someone else in your team?
I like to think that we have a really strong and diverse team, even if just small. But the one person that I'd like to give all of this credit to first, I think, is my grandfather.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, who is always there and is always supportive.
That's right.
But after him, it would have to be my co-founder, Jose Fayako.
Okay.
And the most creative person in the team is Omar Yacob, who is always positive. And Josefa is the total opposite. He'll tell you, if you bring an idea, like, okay, we could do this, but yes, there's something wrong with this here, there's something wrong with this here, and the other person would like, it's positive, let's just go. So I think I like to think that I'm just in between these two great personalities. I'm looking at what he's saying, what Josefa is saying, the negative part of it. But I'm also looking at the aspirational, angle that maybe the other person is looking at it from. And, we've had so many great team members over the years, and the ladies as well, that were there to we might be able to say, okay, we're getting to that place. But they're usually the people that would say, okay, so we need to do XYZ for us to be able to reach that destination. And I really appreciate it.
Let's take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to continue this conversation. It's really interesting, right? See you soon. welcome back. If you're just joining us, it's still Connect the Dots podcast, coming to you on our YouTube page, and we've been speaking to Naufal Ahmad, an ecosystem manager, doing a lot of things, all like intertwined: business coaching, mentorship, building policies for government, and some other very important companies. We've spoken about a lot of stuff, the journey where it started, registration, and all of that, and we'll continue from there. Naufal, welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we've spoken about so many things that's dear to you. It's also dear to me because I learned from people's stories of resilience. It gives me the boost to, okay, you can continue in this regard. So I'm sure you must have mentored a lot of young people, maybe your age, maybe younger, maybe older, because of the virtue of your expertise and all that.
Yeah.
What has that been to you, like the process, getting young people, sometimes you get young people that want mentorship or want you to build their business, but they're not serious, and you need to just be the serious person to make them stand firm and all of that. What was the process for you in this past 9 years?
Okay, so if you go back to my story, I told you that we started because we couldn't get that, so we're trying to offer people that, and I would say it has been nothing short of fulfilling.
Okay.
I might not be where I would have wanted to be financially, but I'm happy to see that I've mentored someone, and now they have more money than I do. I'm very secure about that. Yeah, I'm happy to know that I'm part of your success.
Mm-hmm.
That's fulfilling.
You made them.
For me, yes, and I've had the privilege of interfacing with so many people, and that would come really frail and weak, and because of what I have done or we have done, they exit with a lot of confidence.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, you stated a very important point that people would come to you with a fake sense of seriousness,
mm-hmm.
and you'd invest a lot of time, and you'd realize that they're not serious about what they've been saying.
That's right.
So that's a struggle for me. That's the only time when I feel, is this even worth my time? So what I've learned to do is focus on quality over quantity.
That's right.
Only able to mentor one person and do it effectively, that's okay. But what I don't do anymore is waste my time in having 50 or 100 people in one room and just talking to them about the same thing. I'm more deliberate now. I'm more intentional. And I do it in the background sometimes, is have people just maybe come into the office, scheduling time, coming to the office and spending 30, 40 minutes with me, and maybe me giving them an advice on what I think they should do, or connecting them to someone that has more of that, experience, or expertise, as you rightly mentioned, and it's been great.
I'm sure
fulfilling.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure it takes you some time to get to this point that you are, where you are intentional about whatever you do, making sure that you're more interested in quality over quantity.
Yes.
Can you just talk about the journey to get to this point? Because I'm sure in this 9 years, you must have bring young people together who are not serious, and you've invested your time, and it will be painful with that. Okay, so I decided to give my time to these people without expecting anything in return, and this is the way they turn out. I'm sure you've been frustrated some sort of times.
Yes.
So, what's the journey getting to this point where this is what I'm going for? If it is quality, 2 people, 1 person, I prefer let me take it 1 person at a time than all the quantity stuff.
Of course, it's you evolve. Because as much as you like to think that you're impacting people, but they're also impacting you.
True.
So it's the interaction and the relationship.
It's a symbiotic relationship.
Exactly. So now it would take me like 2 or a month for me to know that you're really not serious.
Mm-hmm.
But now I could almost instantly know that you're not serious about it.
Wow.
If 15 minutes in the conversation, I'd say, okay, this is just another just wannabe. People just want the attention that comes with trying to do something.
Mm-hmm.
The reward, like you said it before, the instant gratification. But they're not willing to put in the work, the hours when it's not glamorous and it's not fun, when there's nobody looking, right? It's reading through these documents, churning through these videos or listening to this podcast, because in the end, I could only show you where I think you need to go. I cannot force you.
No way.
There's an expression that says you could take a horse
to the river, you can force it to drink water.
That's the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think we undermine the wisdom in this small thing so much that, okay, you can't force anybody. I mean, in the end, you didn't even force them to come to you. So you can't force them to get to where they don't want to go. So you learn with time. So you're impacting people. They're also teaching you how to relate with other people.
Mashallah.
How to be more deliberate with your time.
Mashallah. So 9 years, 9 solid years. I'm sure you've built policies for government or some organization.
Yes.
And when you start newly something, and people don't know the kind of work that you do, they don't know the quality you can give.
And we don't get the credit that we deserve.
Exactly.
But I'm comfortable with it.
Yeah.
I've assisted so many companies and maybe governments conceive projects and maybe execute them. And I'm comfortable being in the background. But the one that I'm happiest about, I think, is my contributions in the Startup Act, now a bill. There's an all-encompassing national policy that listened to all of the stakeholders in the entrepreneurial and the tech space and asked them questions as regards what they want to see government do that would provide that enabling environment. And that bill has been passed. Now it's being domesticated across
the 36 states and the
states,
capital
territory. Yeah, so it's been domesticated, and I'm sure it's going to do wonders to the ecosystem in the next few years, because it's a top-bottom approach, which is the total opposite of what most governments do. Okay, they're standing on a high pedestal and saying, "Oh, we know what you need, and we're going to provide it." And more often than not, they don't. Because they're not the ones in the trenches doing the job and facing the problems. They're only looking at it from the policy standpoint. They're not looking at it as the entrepreneurs would look at it. So that's one of the things that I'm most happy about.
So it's the Startup Act that's the biggest thing you've contributed to.
Yeah, even if at the level, at my state level, even if just that, I'm very, very happy about it. But we have helped the government also do projects that give funding, give skills to young people and help them scale up their businesses. I'm also very proud of that.
MashaAllah. So for entrepreneurs who you've built their businesses, which is the most proud moment for you in building any startup or a business that is just dangling in between and all?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, aside just helping build out, also consult with so many brands, but I think the one that I'm happiest about is consulted for Esferi. It's a unique beauty company that is situated in Kano that offers the entire, I don't know what you call it, the entire beauty services, for women,
makeup,
yes,
everything.
So the fact that it's specifically tailored for the northern woman to have all of the experiences that she needs as a person. If you want to work out, there's a gym. If you want to do this,
more encompassing.
Yes, if you want to do your hair, if you want to do your nails, you could bring your kids, they could swim. I'm so proud of that business, and I'm so proud of what she has been able to do in the last few years. Yes, she's able to provide that experience for northern women, and no man is allowed.
Wow.
So so the husbands are comfortable sending their wives there, and with the kids, they could spend the whole day there. So these are the kind of businesses that I would love to see
grow
our women doing, that is within the boundaries of religion and culture. We're not from England. We have values that are ours, and that we can't continue to bring in these things that would cause a lot of friction between us and society. But life is enjoyable as it is. You could enjoy it as a Muslim, as a northerner, without causing a lot of stir on the internet and struggling to convince people that I have the right to do this. You could still enjoy your life, be yourself. So you just need the environment, and which is what this lady is giving.
Yeah, I'm proud of that, because I always say that in trying to progress in life, we shouldn't lose our values. There is a difference between us and them, and I always see from my experience in Europe, I know that I still prefer to stick to my value system, the one I was raised in terms of culture and religion.
And they'll be more interested in you.
Sure.
I mean, look at places
there's
like...
a look.
I
There's
know, right?
there.
Yeah. I mean, look at places like Marrakesh in Morocco. The entire setting is still very traditional. Yeah, because of that, they catch a lot big on that. So, I mean, we can't be Westerners. We're not Westerners.
Yeah.
I mean, if we try to be them, who's going to be us? Similar as well. I mean, you can see this is how I dress all this.
No, like there's always the uniqueness. Every time that the former president appears in the US for a meeting wearing this exact thing, and
the charisma, the respect that he commands.
Yeah, sure. I love to stick to that. So quickly, because we're running out of time now, leveraging social media in the past 9 years, in what ways have you been able to leverage social media? What is the difference from 9 years ago and now? Because I know there are lots of changes now, evolving technology.
There is actually, and I don't think I can stress this point enough. We naturally, as Northerners, as Muslims, we're very humble people.
Sure.
You know, we do the most amazing things and still just downplay it and not put it out there. And I'm part of those people to an extent. But I've over the years learned to sing my own songs and to let people know that this is who I am, this is what I do. Not just to brag about it, but to inspire other people to also do the same. And to get more opportunities to do what I love doing. So my call would be that people should leverage on these powerful tools to amplify what they do. Not to brag about it, but to let people know that this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is how I can be of service to you. So if we approach it from this angle, to be much easier and to be much more valuable. And your social media is the first place people go to see who you really are. Sure. If I meet you right now, before I try maybe getting your number, what's your social media? That's where I'll go. That's a compendium.
That's
of what you do and your journey. We're just talking about your voice from years ago, and you know, so you've been consistent. Maybe that's why you are where you are, right?
Alhamdulillah, that's it. So what what will you do differently to propel your brand to like global standard one? I mean, like your services are required.
Are you saying it's not standard?
It is. I mean, I'm just saying it's better to do it better than now, because you know, we're all citizens of a global village, and we've got social media, just like you said. You don't even know someone somewhere in maybe the global north, maybe in the US, maybe in Europe or somewhere is looking at you. I'm like, oh, I'm inspired by this person and I would like your services. Just some couple of days ago, someone reached out to me and said, I want you to manage this social consultancy stuff for me. And so I was like, wow, where did you get my contact? She said, one of the centers I used to go to just while away time give back in around my university in the UK was the person that recommended go to this person's page, and the guy doesn't even have my Nigerian number, so he said go to this page, and the person sent me a DM, and it wasn't the request. I was just going through and I found it. So
in what you just said is something I've always wanted to share with people. Success doesn't always come from looking at things. What can I get out of this? You should always approach it with what can I give.
Sure.
In giving, even if long term comes in value for you, that brings in money. Like I said, I've never struggled to get jobs, and I'm comfortable. All of these gigs I'm getting that bring money are sometimes out of the help that I offered someone.
Sure.
So if you help other people, even if it's just money you want, it would come back to you long term through recommendations, and you're building experiences, you're building expertise. Even if you decide to go work for someone, you're going to be hired at a higher level than.
That's right.
So my call on young people is that if you're just graduating school, to just sit idle and be like, oh, I need to get a job first. Volunteer your time. You can volunteer your way through success. Yeah, so and that's what you're saying.
Sure.
That's a really good point.
Thank you so much. It's been really interesting speaking to you, and I want to do this again because there's a lot to tap from you. I know, and we'll do a lot of things together, inshallah.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being part of this podcast today. And that's it on today's edition. Remember that we're just coming back, and we're coming back in full force after this long break and all that. Many thanks for joining. See you again next edition. Ding ding, connect.